Alright guys, welcome back to Who Would Win, where I think of two characters, talk about how it would be like if they fought, and you guys tell me in the comments who you think would come out on top in this matchup. And today, I got a really good one for you guys. It's a Marvel-DC mashup. You know, can't go wrong with a good Marvel-DC fight. I try to think of less Marvel-DC fights, because everyone thinks of Marvel-DC fights. I'm getting off topic, I need to get back on track. But anyway, yeah, it's a Marvel-DC fight pitting two villains. Black Manta, the arch-enemy of Aquaman, and the Hobgoblin from one of Spider-Man's most dangerous enemies. So Black Manta versus Hobgoblin. Oh boy, this is a good one. Now, for reference, before we go any further, if you're wondering which Hobgoblin I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be talking about Roderick Kingsley, technically, I know it's a whole thing with Ned Leeds, but technically Roderick Kingsley was the Hobgoblin. Because that whole thing was a mess. But anyway, so Roderick Kingsley, Hobgoblin, for reference. So let's get into this. Now, yes, Black Manta and Hobgoblin both have major battle experience. Both of them have taken on different opponents, not outside of their traditional heroes. Of course, Manta with Aquaman and Hobgoblin with Spider-Man, but they've also taken on different opponents throughout their lives. Both depend more on gadgets and weaponry than actual superpowers. Although, no, that was Macendale. Sorry, I was about to say, there was that whole thing with Demo Goblin, but I was like, no, that was Macendale. That became the Demo Goblin, that was a whole thing. That's what you could say with comics, is that you could just sum up as, that was a whole thing. But I'm getting off topic again. So, Manta, Hobgoblin, both excellent hand-to-hand fighters. Both of them have, use tech and their skills. They're both ruthless, but their weaponry and their combat is very different. Of course, Black Manta is a capable fighter. All of his weapons are meant to fight Atlanteans. Specifically, this is a guy who his whole life is dedicated to killing Aquaman. You know, that guy who is almost at the same level of strength as Superman. And not to mention, a lot of people seem to forget that Aquaman is a lot more powerful than given credit to. And this is a guy who has managed to outsmart, managed to outfight, and even managed to make Arthur bleed. So, yeah, Manta is also a guy that has taken on the likes of Batman, Green Arrow, he's taken on, Superman, he's taken on a lot of people, and no one likes to fight him because they know he's a threat. He isn't, everyone who comes across Manta walks away with some new scars. Like, even Deathstroke once said, I don't mess with Manta. And when the guy who is called the world's greatest mercenary says that about, Manta, then you know something's up. Then you generally know something is seriously up. So Manta, of course, he's got his helmet which can release a blast of optic beams. He's an excellent hand-to-hand fighter. He carries swords, bombs, harpoon guns, razors, grenades, small arms. This guy is a master of all of it, and all of it is dedicated to murdering the shit out of the King of Atlantis and everyone else who gets in his way. How ruthless is Manta? He killed Aquaman's infant child. If you want to, just to remind you. So, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Hobgoblin. Now, Hobgoblin is a major powerhouse in of his own right. Hobgoblin, again, has nearly killed Spider-Man several times. He's also taken it to Green Goblin. No, wait, that was Macendale again. Never mind. But Kingsley is, he's an excellent hand-to-hand fighter. He's he's an actual, he's a master strategist. Remember, he managed to, do the whole thing with Ned Leeds. Granted, that was a retcon, but still. Yeah, he managed to fool everyone that, Ned Leeds was the Hobgoblin and he was the Hobgoblin. He carries, of course, the classic pumpkin bombs. He also has razor gauntlets. His glider is packed with weaponry. And, he fights on an aerial, in the sky. He is an aerial fighter. But if he has to get off that glider, he can take it to you. He can easily take it to you in a hand-to-hand fight. This is a guy who can take on Spider-Man, a guy who can lift 10 to 12, tons. So, yeah. Little, reference for you right there. So, Hobgoblin, dangerous. Manta, equally dangerous. So, what would it be like if Manta and Hobgoblin got into a fight? This would be an honest-to-God duel to the death. No one's holding back in this fight. So, Manta. All of his weaponry is meant to battle on the sea, but he is more than capable of using his tech that he uses for underwater combat to the dry land. He is more than capable of going on land to kill you, and using it just as effectively. Whereas, Hobgoblin's weaponry is all based on aerial combat. So, however, Black Manta does have, I remember in some iterations, he does have a jetpack in some cases. So I'm guessing, like, maybe he could get up there real quick, if need be. Or he could just use one of his harpoon guns, hit the glider, and drag Kingsley's ass down here to fight him. But that's the thing, is that Kingsley likes to fight far away. He will take the fight to you in a head-on fight, but if he can, he's going to try his best to take you on in a long-range fight. Manta is more than capable of fighting you long-range and up close, but he'd prefer to kill you 7 times over face-to-face. So this is a very much of different, weapons and skill that both Manta and Hobgoblin, have. Both of them are brutal fighters. Both of them are going to try to out-strategize one another. But the thing is that Kingsley has a crippling weakness. He has a fucking ego the size of the moon. Yeah, he can't help himself some of the times. He sometimes have to, prove that he's better than you. Manta doesn't have an ego. He just has one thought. Kill you and move on to getting back to business with Aquaman. That is his only job, is that he does not have Kingsley's ego. So that might be a crippling factor, is that, you're probably always wondering, Zillow, why do you always talk about egos in these fights? Why is that an X factor? For me, it's an X factor because an ego can either make or break you. You could think you're the baddest shit on the block, but you sometimes don't realize that there's a bigger, badder guy coming around the corner ready to beat your face in. And that might be the case here in this fight. So for those watching, yeah, you guys tell me in the comments below. If you think Manta wins, put hashtag Black Manta wins. Or if you think Hobgoblin wins, put hashtag Hobgoblin wins and list off the reasons why you think either Black Manta would win if you put hashtag Black Manta wins, or list off the reasons why you think Hobgoblin would win in this matchup if you put hashtag Hobgoblin wins. Really curious to see what you guys have to say about this one. Hope you all enjoyed this fight. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say about it. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.